All right, and we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our live stream. We're going to look at some crazy news that just came out, I believe yesterday, about how a lot of the activity that happened in the Solana ecosystem in the past year or so was completely fake, created by a few developers who were anonymous and pretended to be bigger developer teams and actually double counted a bunch of money that we think had a pretty big impact on the price of Sol increasing in the last year alone. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to look at a lot of the news updates that have happened in the space in our live stream yesterday. I give you these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just subscribe, turn on notifications. You're going to find out about those whenever we go live. We're going to answer some of your questions, take a quick peek at the crypto markets, and a whole lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you learn how to master blockchain step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so people jump in the chat here. We've got, let's see here, Automatic Beats, Cody, all right, we're live. I like it, Dale. Bruno, technically, Josh, let's see here. Welcome, Hexwood, Brent, Ardal, Dominic, Cyrus, welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. So it's been a crazy week for the Solana ecosystem. We've been talking about, the wallet hacks that have happened. Of course, that's not a funny thing to laugh about. That's pretty serious. We've been talking about that and how to protect yourself. Definitely want to be careful for everybody who has experienced any kind of a loss this past week with that, because it's definitely not anybody's fault who were just using products that did not custody their funds well. But one thing that is pretty crazy. Uh-oh, my camera just went out. Let's just see here. Let me fix this, everybody. Can you still see me okay? Yeah, I had a little issue with my camera here. All right, we're good. But one thing that is absolutely crazy, all right, that does actually, it's pretty funny, and not at the same time, is that we just had a piece come out yesterday where some of the biggest projects in the Solana ecosystem that rose to fame over the past year were basically faked. Okay, so let's talk about this. So the two big projects in particular in the Solana ecosystem, Sunny aggregator, okay, and also Saber. All right, I'll pull these up on my screen here. You can see these. Let me just pull up here. Let's see here. All right. So Sunny, all right, and Saber, okay, both pretty prominent projects in the Solana ecosystem. Saber peaked out, let's see here, at about 4.15 TVL based on this chart here, and then also 3.4 billion TVL, about the time of September. Of course, these are dependent projects upon one another. Were both created by the same set of developers, okay? And the thing that a lot of people don't understand, and that we just found out in this news, was there's really just two people pretending to be a lot of different people, and then basically taking money and then double counting it to pump up the metrics to try to generate hype around their projects themselves and actually get more attention and actually bring more people in, okay, to kind of fuel the fire. And how this likely had a pretty big impact on the run-up of the price of the Solana coin in the first place. Okay, so this is the TVL metric I'm talking about here. So TVL stands for total value locked, okay, which basically means all the money that's put into a app like this. So of course, an exchange is required to have, let's just say liquidity pools into it. Like whenever you go to an exchange, you swap cryptocurrency. It's like a vending machine. Say, I give it one coin, it spits out another one. Well, where's that other coin come from? Well, it comes from, cryptocurrency that's essentially parked into the app. Okay. And it's decentralized. Like anybody can do it. It's permissionless in that way. So those people are incentivized to do that, to spit out, actually get a passive income reward, right? Or get some price appreciate, get a cut of fees, right? They share, not necessarily fees, but they get some sort of interest based on that, and that's sort of their incentive to do it. So anyways, anybody can, park money in there. That counts towards a TVL, but TVL is a tricky metric. We've talked about this on this channel because it's easily spoofed or easily faked, or it's easily misleading in a lot of ways. And you're definitely going to see how in this article right here. So Anyways, so Sunny was the newest decentralized finance DeFi app to hit Solana during the blockchain's scorching bull run last summer when its native token jumped fivefold. Okay, Sunny was barely 2 weeks old early September, but billions of dollars of crypto were flooding into its yield farm. And so you can see what they're talking about here. Here was basically the birth of Sunny, and then you saw the TVL go absolutely parabolic. Absolutely parabolic. Okay, so... So how is this possible? So basically, who was behind Sunny? Was it a developer? My camera keeps cutting out here. So Surya, I'm not even trying to pronounce the entire name here. I'll probably get it wrong. Were they pseudonymous? That's basically saying were they going under a pseudonym, right? Was it actually their real name, right? Was the code audited? Would the user's cash be safe? So there's no indication of who the developer was, okay? And many users didn't feel comfortable putting their crypto in. So they kind of kept going down the list here, but basically they found out that the Surya was a pseudonym, and it was this developer here, Ian. Okay, it was the chief architect of Saber, the stablecoin exchange built on top of Solana, and he built Sunny, all right, on top of Saber. So he built both applications, and that's just the top of it. So it's both projects. But apparently, he was coding as 11 basically, there were supposed to be 11 independent developers creating this, but they were fake. Okay, it was really just two people pretending to be 11 different people acting as different anonymous accounts. So basically, what they're saying here is they single-handedly inflated the total value locked on Solana, like the entire network. Okay, so you had two apps that were basically responsible for a majority of the TVL metrics that you were seeing during all the massive hype around Solana during the last major bull run. And it basically temporarily inflated all the TVL in Solana, which people use as a barometer for the on-chain activity. Because, like I said, there's all these metrics people use, like active wallets, TVL, all this type of stuff. We're going to talk about how to, read these metrics a little better. But basically, it says he devised a scheme to maximize Solana's TVL. I would build protocols that stack. This is a direct quote. I would build protocols that stack on top of each other, such as the dollar could be counted several times. So he wrote in a never published blog post reviewed by CoinDesk. The blog was prepared on March 26, 3 days after Casio, one of the secretly built protocols that lost $52 million in a hack. So people close to the matter confirmed the draft's authenticity. So basically, the ploy worked for a while. By his count, Saber and Sunny comprises 7.5 billion of Solana's 10.5 billion TVL at the peak. So if you look at Solana's peak value here, man, my camera, I'm not sure what's going on here. Basically, at the peak, let me see if I think it's my connector to the thing. I might have to just change my webcam here in a second. But basically, Solana's TVL at the peak, it was roughly 75%, okay? Roughly 70%, depending on how you want to, just the quick math off the top of my head. So that's pretty significant. Like, if you think about the 80-20 rule of like it's 20% that accomplishes 80% of the results and the rest of the 80% is like not as important, that's kind of that's like the opposite, right? It's like most of it, like closer to 80% than 50%. The TVL was just like pumped up. So he says also, I believe it contributed to the dramatic rise of Sol, like the actual cryptocurrency itself, when people are looking at the different metrics and kind of using that for justification for adoption and hype and all that stuff. So basically talking about that when the native currency was at $188. So Solana's network TVL continued to swell even after the Saber ecosystem began losing steam mid-September 2021, topping at 15 billion around November 19th. We saw that on the charts here. DeFi Llama counts it a little bit different. And again, TVL can be a misleading metric. People count it different ways. Different apps count it differently, but I'm just kind of showing you one metric that's easy to look at. So he disdained, this vanity metric, talking about TVL. We'll talk about that here in a minute. How there are other projects also on Ethereum, which have TVL, which is double counted in this way. That's a misleading metric. I'm not trying to say that people who use TVL across anything are by any means perfect, of course. Basically, but he wanted to create a system very similar to this. If the same team built each protocol, TVL would be a more silly metric. Thus, I created more anonymous profiles. So he wore 11 different masks, 11 different developers. So anyways, let's talk about some learnings for this. So, clearly there was a lot of hype around stuff that was completely fake, especially last year. Now let's talk about some of the learnings here. One is TVL as a metric, all right? Total value locked. I've talked about this multiple on my channel. That's definitely not a perfect metric by any stretch of the imagination to measure adoption, because whenever you're doing TVL, you can easily double count things, right? You could just add more, you could just print new cryptocurrencies, and as soon as like one of those coins trades on a decentralized exchange, you can say, well, all the coins are worth multi-billion dollars now, so we can just add billions of dollars to our TVL, right? So, TVL is definitely not a great metric by any stretch of the imagination. And there's going to be lots of people in the live chat. I haven't even looked at the live chat yet. Who are going to be like, you're just saying this blah, 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 blah to make, Solana look bad and then like make Ethereum look good. So, Ethereum has definitely experienced a share of some similar problems in the past. Okay. And even still, right, there's going to be bogus projects on ETH that happen all the time, but there's a lot of legitimate ones too. And it's not like 75 or 80% of what happens on Ethereum is basically illegitimate or double counted. We've seen stuff happen in the past with Ethereum. Like the ICO days were pretty early and pretty sketchy. Okay. Like a lot of the early ICOs on ETH were like complete scams, right? Like maybe even most of them. It's hard to really say, without, doing a, that's just sort of my quick take on that, right? Of course, we have seen projects come out of ICOs that actually did really well. Like, Chainlink was an ICO project. Aave was turned into, or ETHLend was turned into Aave was a ICO project. So I'm not saying they were all bad, but there's a lot of shady stuff, and there was a lot of reasons to question the legitimacy of that whole movement in the first place. But so I'm not trying to like point fingers, say like this, make this look bad, try to make this look good. I'll definitely call out the sort of bogusness wherever I see it for sure, but this is one way in which it was crazy finding out about this, because there was definitely some things that did not seem to add up, and this explains a lot. So another one is talking about Sybil attacks. All right, I've got a video later today that's gonna be talking about Sybil attacks and why it's really important to use blockchain technology to prove humanity. That's what a Sybil attack is. So a Sybil attack is basically like, can you fake a bunch of can you basically create users that are not actual humans that can throw off the experience of a network, or a system of some kind. So like, think about all the bots on Twitter. Okay, so if you had bots, Twitter has a bot problem, right? It's pretty evident for a lot of people. If you've never experienced this, like, have you actually been on Twitter? This even came up in the negotiations with Elon Musk trying to buy Twitter, being like, hey, like, you got to prove that you don't have all this bot activity. Like they were saying, it was like this really small number. And he's like, no, it's got to be way more than that. And they, of course, never saw the numbers from that type of thing in any transparency. Because, yeah, think about it. Like, bots could potentially sway someone's perception of the truth on Twitter. Like, if you see a bot, you see it in crypto all the time. People get scammed out by bots all the time. They work. That's why you see them all the time. You may have never fallen for it, but somebody might, right? Especially somebody new. So, and also, like, with like any type of social or political issue, you might have like entire, droves of bots who are like swaying people's perception of reality and their opinions based on like reposting or recommenting on things, right? So like, that's a Sybil attack, where you can create all this fake stuff that can mess with a network or a system in some way. And you can do the same thing in crypto, right? If you pretend to be 11 different developers or an entire community, right, you could fake the perception of a legitimacy of a project in the first place, and then kind of meme people into something that doesn't really actually have the traction that it looks like. Okay. And there's a lot of people who could criticize that for the entire crypto space, for sure. But like that, this is an example of a Sybil attack to some degree, all right, happening in real time. Okay, so there's a pretty controversial debate in crypto on should we have anonymous developers or anon developers. Okay. Now there is a potential happy medium between these two things with cryptography, right? I'm actually got a video later today coming out about digital identity. Check that out. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. You're going to find out about that whenever it publishes. But how you can use blockchain to prove information without revealing information. That's like with zero knowledge proofs, and this has, some, overlap with identity. So you could potentially continue to be an anonymous developer as long as you can, like, prove that you are a human, right? And that you are not using a different identity somewhere else, okay? Like the uniqueness of your humanity, you could potentially prove that without revealing who you are with blockchain. That could be a happy medium where you could actually have anonymous developers, but you don't get to have an army of people who just pretend to be 10, 20, 100, 1,000 different accounts, right, that are just controlled by the same person. So, anyways, this is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy that some of the biggest projects on the entire Solana ecosystem were basically faked. Now, one thing I want to stress too is they actually did get traction, right? It's not like it led to nowhere, right? It did actually get traction and momentum, and just like everything else, at the end of 2021, the metrics just completely collapsed. We're seeing this here, but that's not unique to these projects, right? Like pretty much everything kind of blew up at the end of last year. So last thing I want to point out about this is I had some videos come out, over the past couple weeks talking about new blockchains that are popping up. Okay, talking about how these could be like in the next Solanas, et cetera, et cetera. One thing in the headline here is basically talking about how developers are now moving on to Aptos. All right, so Aptos is definitely one of the hot chains that everybody's talking about. So we could see these things completely play out 100% over again on a brand new ecosystem. Okay, so part of understanding this is increasing your literacy of the crypto space. To when you see numbers and figures floating around there, you can actually like question and criticize those statistics, whether than just like follow things blindly, because you know what can happen to actually manipulate those to make things look different than they actually are. Now, at the end of the day, like I don't think these metrics are like completely useless, right? I don't think TVL is a useless metric. I don't think that active users are useless metrics, or active addresses are useless metrics by any stretch of imagination. But you have to have literacy and understand why they might be misleading, might be different, how they can be audited. Okay, for example, like a chain that has really low transaction fees, that's cheap to use, it doesn't have as much demand. Like you could easily fake multiple accounts and just create bots that are just like spamming all the time, because it's not going to cost that much, versus a chain that's got higher fees where you actually have less incentive to do that type of thing. You don't want to sit there and just burn through fees to try to hype up an ecosystem. You have to understand all the different dynamics at play there. Somebody says, hi, but for what it's worth, that guy is a genius. No, so many projects, a single dev, and people didn't notice. He did a lot for Solana chain. I mean, he definitely accomplished what he set out to do, at least for a little while. Suppose can you explain what TVL is? Total value locked. Basically, the US dollar amount of all the cryptocurrency that is deposited into a project or exists on top of an ecosystem. Okay, so let's look at a couple other things that have popped up in the space since yesterday. Again, I want to share that with you all because I thought that was absolutely crazy, and it's really specific to the developers too. Let's just pull this up here. So we have, let's see here. we have 45 days until the Ethereum merge. All right, which is huge. Ethereum's going to turn on proof of stake. The beacon chain is going to merge the main chain. We're going to be, stepping towards the Ethereum 2.0 full dream. I know people don't call it Ethereum 2.0 anymore. I just say that because a lot of people still know it as that. But we've been talking about how, whether if ETH turns on proof of stake, whether we're going to get an old blockchain that stays behind that forks off, and whether or not we're going to get free coins, right? We're talking about the probability of that, and then how we're seeing more of a push to maintain an old proof of work version of Ethereum. Okay. Initially I was saying hey, it's probably not going to work because you have all these apps on top of Ethereum that aren't going to work if you just fork them. You know what I mean? But we saw some big miners come out in the past couple of weeks that were responsible for Ethereum Classic that are saying hey, let's do it. Let's keep an old Ethereum proof of work chain. And the latest news here is Justin Sun, all right, backs Ethereum hard fork. Okay, so Sun said he would support Ethereum development on existing Ethereum network following the expected merge in September. Okay, so we'll see. We currently have more than 1 million ETH. Ethereum hard fork succeeds. We'll donate some of the forked ETH-W to the ETH-W community. All right, so we also got some. We also got some news that Poloniex is gonna support ETH-W. Because that's the other problem is, if you fork a cryptocurrency, if you fork a chain like Ethereum, somebody's got to actually support trading. And what I was saying before is, you're gonna need some smaller exchanges. Like smaller exchanges are gonna be incentivized to support that because they want the trading fees. All right. Basically what I mean by that is, I wouldn't think at least you'd see somebody like Binance or Coinbase instantly saying, okay, we're going to support this version of Ethereum fork. They're probably I don't know about that. But you'd see smaller players, okay, instantly jump on the opportunity because they want the fees. So looks like that's what we're seeing here from Poloniex. So the Ethereum merge is expected to be on September 2022. Poloniex is the world's first exchange to list ETH, and I'm not sure if that was true. Actually, it might have been true. Poloniex was pretty early on, but someone can fact check that. And now the first one to support potential forking of ETH with this list of 2 potential forked ETH tokens, ETH-S and ETH-W. So I don't even know about ETH-S. So looks like we could have multiple forks. If you hold ETH, it's time to make sure you got those coins in a wallet on chain, because you might have a bunch of different forks. And I guess make sure you got a Poloniex account. Definitely not financial advice. I'm not telling you to KYC on Poloniex. This is Gorley first. Yeah, totally. All right. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, we got 45 days till the Ethereum merge. It's happening. Let's just see here. I feel like there's one or two other things that I saw pop up that wanted to chat about today. And then I gotta go soon. I got started late, so I might have to jump off a little bit early. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up for today. All right, everybody. As always, thanks for watching. Smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out, so then more people can learn about blockchain. And, if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you went to the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I show master blockchain step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got, and until next time.